It is 2:23 in the studios at Observer Radio, News Co. Limited. We're now in our fourth segment of this afternoon's program. During a ceremony last night, Joanne C. Hillhouse was one of the three 2023 laureates inducted into the College of Laureates at a gala ceremony at the Hilton Ballroom in Port of Spain, Trinidad. In recognition and support of work that uplifts the region, each was presented with a financial award, an Anthony N. Sabga Award commemorative coin, and a citation. The 2023 laureates are Dr. Adesh Surjasingh, Public Health Doctor from Trinidad and Tobago, and that was in the area of public and civic contributions. Dr. Mahendra Prasad, Agri-Scientist from Guyana, in the area of science and technology. And then there's Joanne C. Hillhouse, writer from Antigua and Barbuda, in the category of arts and letters. We'll listen to a portion of her acceptance speech.
I also recognize the fellow laureates, Dr. Mahendra Prasad and Dr. Adesh Surjasingh. I am in such great company. I'm not worthy. I want to say that I wouldn't be here without all of my communities. Even though writing is a very solitary profession, I wouldn't be here without the community that birthed me of Artists Antigua. I wouldn't be here without the folk, let's call them folk artists, the Calypsonians, the mass builders, every part of our creative space that inspires my writing. The stories I've seen, the stories I've lived, the stories that have fueled my imagination from that space called Artists Antigua. And by extension, my father who is here with me today, Ronald Hillhouse. His community of Sylvia Farm, that whole Hillhouse side of the family. My mother is from Dominica, the Dominican strain of the family. All the teachers, all the mentors, all the project partners and patrons, whether with Dadley Penn, Cushion Club, and any of the projects I've been involved with, friends and associates, my editors, my agent, my friend Danielle is here today. She's a writer from Antigua, award-winning writer and illustrator from Antigua. And you know what? I'm going to take her as the avatar for the Caribbean writing community that has become my community. And she's also my friend. My mentors from college, Mr. Holder, from UWI, Mona Jamaica, Mervyn Morris. During my first international writing workshop at the University of Miami, Olive Senior, Giselle Isaac, Carolyn Cooper. These are people who have inspired and guided me in different phrases over the years. The readers, because word on the page is nothing without the people who pick up the book and say, let me read it, let me pass it on. Even when they're pirating it, they still read it and pass it on. As long as they leave a little review and say, you know what, the book good, bad. Just say something. The Cushion Club and with Dadley Penn communities. I would not be a children's book writer if I was not a volunteer reader with the Cushion Club. If I had not visited schools and seen the blank faces of little kids staring at me like, tell me a story. And they're not interested in, they want a story that can reach them. And in trying to serve them, I started writing children's stories in addition to the adult stories that I had in me. I want to say my family, I'm going to call their names. The Hillhouses, the Johns, my parents, Ronald Hillhouse, my mother, Josephine, John Hillhouse, Tanti. The first writing I remember doing was after my grandmother on my mother's side, Tanti, died, and I found a book and this bracelet that I always wear are the things that I got when she died, and the book had script in it, and I just continued writing. It was a book with her name on the cover, and I just continued writing in that book. So I wouldn't be a writer without her, and she's on my shoulder all the time. Mama, my dad's mother, is also a creative person. She's a potter, and she has also shown up in my stories. So that whole strain of the family. My brother Robert, my sister Sophia, my nieces and nephews, who also are inspiration in the stories. I'm going to start from the youngest up. The youngest, Elijah, Justin, Joshua, Ale, Desheri, and I'm going to end on Veloni because she outfitted me today. She's a designer, Nicoya Henry Designs, and this is her work. want to thank God because for me, I've had low moments and I've always been able to reach out and say, keep me here, keep me strong. Thanks for the gift and keep me going. And I've kept going, and if I had not kept going, I would not be here today. So I thank God for that. Thank you.
We heard the words of Joanne C. Hillhouse as she spoke in Trinidad last night, and shortly we'll hear from Joanne C. Hillhouse, who's back home. But before that, after what must have been a rewarding but very long and probably tiring night, Mrs. Maria Superville Nielsen, Program Director of the Anthony N. Sabga Caribbean Awards for Excellence, took time to share some thoughts with me at around 1 o'clock this morning. Prior engagements prevented her from being able to join us live this afternoon.
Thanks, Barbara. Yes, this is the first time that an Antiguan is receiving the prize. Joanne C. Hillhouse won in the Arts and Letters category. We have had other OECS winners, Adrian Auger from St. Lucia, Professor Kathleen Cord from Grenada, Dr. Lennox Honeychurch from Dominica, Professor Leonard O'Garo from St. Vincent, Professor Carol Phillips from St. Kitts, another writer, Professor Richard Robertson from St. Vincent, Mr. Herbert Samuel from St. Vincent, and he was the first entrepreneur laureate, and he got his prize in 2015. Miss Shadell Naya Compton from Jamaica, Jamil Udovic from St. Lucia, Sean Sutherland from St. Vincent, and now Joanne from Antigua and Barbuda. The Anthony N. Sabga Awards Caribbean Excellence was inaugurated in 2005 by Dr. Anthony N. Sabga, an entrepreneur from Trinidad and Tobago. Now, this was 14 years after the notion was first floated by him. He didn't think it was right to have an award in his name while he was still alive, so he took some persuading. Our first awards ceremony was held in 2006 and started off as biennial ceremonies, and then from 2011 became an annual ceremony. Although we didn't have a ceremony in 2016. We advertise for nominations which go before country nominating committees in Barbados, Guyana, Jamaica, the OECS, and Trinidad and Tobago. The committees research and vet and prepare dossiers on the candidates they are putting forward to the Regional Eminent Persons Panel, which is headed now by Professor Compton Bourne. Previously, it was headed by Sir Sridhar Ramphal. The panel meets and selects the best candidate in each category. And the categories are arts and letters, entrepreneurship, public and civic contributions, and science and technology. The OECS committee has representatives from Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts, Dominica, Grenada, St. Lucia, Montserrat, and St. Vincent. Joanne's work caught the eye of the committee, and the researcher, Latimer Lucian, prepared an extensive dossier on her with the help of persons who could speak to her work and accomplishments, and her work is impressive. The Anthony N. Sabga Awards Caribbean Excellence are not lifetime achievement awards, but for candidates in mid-career, and it is hoped that the tangible recognition they receive would spur them on to greater achievement. We hope, therefore, that Joanne would produce a greater body of work and that her penchant for inspiring the youth with her writing on Caribbean flow would increase exponentially. So we congratulate her. It was wonderful. She received her award last evening, and she did it beautifully. So we're extremely proud of her, and we wish her all the best, and we look forward to good things from her. Thank you so much.
it was a group of people from across the OECS who came together to nominate Antigua and Barbuda's Joanne C. Hillhouse. Mrs. Superville Nielsen tells us more.
Finally, allow me to let you know who is on the OECS nominating committee. Professor Hazel Simmons McDonald, OBE, she is the chair of the committee. Then we have Sir Errol Allen from St. Vincent, Mr. Richard Duncan, OBE from Grenada, Mr. J. Emile Ferdinand, KC from St. Kitts and Nevis, Miss E. Ann Henry, KC, Antigua and Barbuda, Mr. Marius St. Rose from St. Lucia, and Mr. Liston E. Scarrett from Montserrat. So these are the exceptional members of the OECS committee who were the ones who nominated Joanne Hillhouse. Thank you.
And I want to thank everyone who took part or who gave me information about this award ceremony. And now we're going to speak with two people who were in Trinidad last night and who are probably suffering from jet lag at this point in time. And I have in the studio with me E. Ann Henry, who is here in her capacity as a member of the nominating committee for the Eastern Caribbean states. And she's been doing this since 2014 or 2015, around there. She actually chaired the committee from 2017 to 2019. And as I said, she flew to Trinidad to be a part of the award ceremony that took place last night. I have on the Zoom platform none other than the awardee herself, Joanne C. Hillhouse. Joanne, good afternoon. Maybe Joanne has fallen asleep on us. I see her there. Joanne, if you could unmute and saying good afternoon to Joanne C. Hillhouse at this point in time. Hi, Joanne.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can now. Go ahead.
I am so sorry. Good afternoon, everyone.
It's okay. We'll allow you off. We'll allow you for now. We recognize what's going on, so it's all right. Anne is here laughing at you, but it's okay.
Laughing at myself too.
All right. So, Joanne, congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem at all. And Anne, welcome. I didn't say welcome. I think you were asleep, so I was giving you a chance to wake up again. So, Anne, welcome.
Thank you very much, Barbara. Happy to be here.
Great. All right, Ian, I know I've left you sort of there, but I'm glad that you're still with us. So, Ian, what you've heard so far, I mean, Antigua has a laureate, arts and letters. Your thoughts?
I think it's commendable, and the fact that not only we've had an awardee, but someone who is actually being recognized at that level. I think it is really commendable. Absolutely, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. So, Anne, let's start with you. What happened last night?
I think it was one of the most exciting evenings of my entire life.
Wow.
That may sound really very, is there a word, exaggerative? But I'll tell you something. It was a combination of so much because this was a nomination that we really believed in, right? I've had the privilege of doing the presentation to the committee. And I think that the committee was very receptive to not only the quality of work that Joanne has done, but also her engagement with particularly the youth. So she has given to us an incredible body of work, but perhaps almost more importantly, she has shared herself and continues to encourage and coach and mentor young people in Antigua and Barbuda. One of the things that she said yesterday was that, or maybe it was on the video, that she sees Wadadli Pen as being her way of providing a space for young people that was not provided to her. And that selflessness is really very inspiring. Mm-hmm. And I think that when we read the dossier, Vladimir did an excellent job. I think you were one of the contributors to put that dossier together. And when we read it, there was no question in the mind of the committee that Joanne was the appropriate person for us to put forward. We figured we had a winner.
And you did.
And we did.
You did. Joanne, go back a couple of months. When you were contacted, just tell us a little bit about what happened. How did you feel at that point? What do you remember at that stage?
When I was contacted, I was a combination of feelings. Obviously, I was elated. I was shocked, gobsmacked. I don't think I've ever used that word before, but there's the appropriate time for it, because as a working writer, as an independent writer, especially as an independent writer in a space like Antigua, you kind of, I mean, as a writer generally, you toil in isolation. As a writer in Antigua, you're toiling uphill while dragging, I don't know, 400,000 pounds of lead. You're trying to stay motivated, stay on target, stay inspired. The environment is not very enabling. That's one of the reasons I do with Adley Pen and some of the other things. So you're not looking for accolades, and when you receive them, you don't quite know how to react. So when I said for quite a long time I'm processing, and it might sound cliche, but I'm still processing, because it's like, okay, there was a period of time when I had convinced myself it wasn't actually real, because there was a period when only I knew about it. And then when the announcement was made, I think that's when it became real for me, that, okay, this is happening. This is happening. This is happening. And what has made it really hit home is the amount of affirmations I've received from people, whether online or in the street, who say you deserve this. After a while, you have to start believing them, and that they're not just blowing smoke, that maybe they see something in you, that you're not focused on that, you're focused on the work, and trying to plant seeds where you are, but that maybe the garden is something that other people can look at and say, okay, that's not a bad garden. It has some weeds in it, but it also has some flowers. So it's been a journey, and last night was a Cinderella moment for me.
And Anne is chuckling, so I want to go back to her. And Anne, tell me about the Cinderella moment. What do you remember about it?
Well, when I walked into the ballroom, the first thing that struck me was that she was looking hot. Remember I told you that? Yeah, there was a lot of energy. Well, I felt a lot of energy, and I think also the ceremony started with the presentation of the flags, and the first flag was the flag of Antigua and Barbuda.
The most beautiful flag of all.
The most beautiful flag, and then the playing of the national anthem. And these things take on a real significance, particularly when you're not in Antigua and Barbuda, and you have that burst of pride, knowing that an Antiguan and Barbudan is recognized on a platform which is significant and has gained a very good reputation over time. So that was the start of it. And then when I opened the brochure and I realized that the Governor General of Antigua and Barbuda had done the foreword in the brochure for the evening, again, this was another validation of us as Antiguans and Barbudans. And for me, this has been one of the important takeaways, if I can put it that way, from this whole experience. That I think that Joanne describes herself as a gal from Antigua.
Otter's Antigua, but go ahead.
Oh, Otter's Antigua? Mm-hmm. Okay, gal from Otter's Antigua. You know, I think that it's a validation not only of Joanne, but of all of us, that there are among us persons whose talents, abilities, value has not necessarily been recognized on our world, our regional stage. And I think that was one of the most important things for me with Joanne, that here we have someone who we really can say is worthy, yes you are, and has been acknowledged and recognized. As a member of the committee, I would like the word to go out, yes, to celebrate Joanne, but also to find the other persons around Antigua who are also doing good work and who have decided to invest in Antigua, because that is yet another important thing. That there are many people who, when they seek to do certain kinds of work, they leave Antigua, they leave the Caribbean. Mm-hmm. They go and set up shop somewhere else where maybe they would have more easy access to resources, etc. But notwithstanding the challenges that I believe Joanne has spoken about, Joanne has not only stayed here in her community, but she is letting that community also benefit by future generations being enhanced.
Thank you, Anne. Joanne, still awake?
I'm here.
All right. Not to check on both of you, you know. I mean, Anne really looks like she's ready to go back home and sleep. So
it went pretty late. Well, Maria was on at 1:00.
Yes.
And then we both had a very early start this morning because the flight.
Plus, it's a whirlwind few days, so that in itself can be exhausting and exhilarating at the same time.
Yes.
Tell us about the few days, Joanne. What were you doing in Trinidad? I mean, Lyman, Fettin is not carnival time. What were you doing there?
They had me working. I'm joking. I was making the media rounds ahead of the awards with Dr. Mahendra Prasad and Dr. Sajid Singh. We had rehearsals for the awards, how to enter the stage, walk across the stage, all of that stuff. So it was like a real production. It was very professionally produced. I must tip my hat to the staff and the organizers, everyone behind the Sabga Awards. I'm particularly impressed with the fact that you have you have an entrepreneur business that has found a way to give back to the community in a way that moves the needle, keeps pushing things forward. And as someone who locally does the Wadaddy Youth Pen Prize, which is now currently in our cycle, that's the kind of thing you want to see in community. You want to see businesses, you want to see a sort of cohesiveness between the arts community, the sports community, the business community, the public sector, working towards a common good. And that's something that I admire about what they've been doing. So it was a lot of work, but it was easy work because it was completely inspiring, and you felt validated, as Anne said, you felt celebrated, and it was indescribable to see the Antigua flag. They had I remember the Boy Scouts bringing each flag. You know how they move. It's real. You feel special to see your flag, and you're there representing your flag. As a writer, I've traveled to many places representing my flag, but the flag has not actually been brought in as this is her flag, and this is who she is and why she's here. And that was a moment. My dad was sitting next to me, and he was, even though he knew what he was like, oh, this is kind of a big deal.
Very big deal.
And and then they play the anthem, so you feel like you're at the Olympics, you know, on the days when they, you know, you won your medal. We get a medal, so we get you know, the coin that is a keepsake of the whole experience. And as for the Cinderella moment, I have to shout out my niece. We call her Veloni. She is a designer, Nicoya Henry Designs. And I approached her and I said, I need a dress for this event. And she's been working. She sent me drawings, and then she sent me fabric, and then I have to decide on things. And I'm like, I don't know anything about this stuff. And then she doesn't, you know, but she's styling, and the outcome to me was absolutely what you want a designer to do, something that is beautiful, but also something that you feel comfortable in. And I felt very comfortable, and I felt very beautiful for that night. So it was in every way a great experience. And as jet lagged as I feel, I haven't come down from it yet. I haven't thought, okay, what now yet, apart from the good thing is that I'm still working. I'm still working on Wadaddy Pen things. I'm still working on other things. So I'm still grounded in that, and I'm happy to be here still doing the work. But it felt indescribable to just take a moment and be on that stage. I will say this, I've heard and read about the sensation of your knees shaking. I've never experienced it before. I was standing up there having to speak and thank everyone and say everything, and my knees were literally shaking. And I was like, oh, this is real. My body is going to remember this. And I'm so thankful for it.
Amazing. Amazing. Ian, I'm going to let you come in for a moment. Anything you'd like to share or say, or questions you have for Joanne?
Well, not really. I remember Joanne from the younger days. I'm just trying to remember whether it's from Otters or say college or somewhere. But it's been so long I can't put my mind to it. But again, I think this is something great. I was just, thinking, what motivational factors, can you put in place to motivate the society, the young society, the writing society in Antigua to attain the levels that you have attained, or even get that interest in writing and reading?
Joanne?
Well, I think just like Ian said, you have to have programs at the grassroots level. You have to make it consistent. You have to draw on the resources you have. Over the years, people like me and others like me who have put voluntarily into the community, visiting the schools, doing workshops, doing camps, organizing reading challenges and volunteer reading with kids. All these things, in some ways, should be institutionalized in a more consistent way so that you have that continuity. Because one of my motivators with Wadadley Pen, on the days when I feel exhausted and like I can't keep doing it because I don't have the time or I don't have the resources or whatever, is I can't let one more arts thing start and stop, because we have no shortage of ideas. But sometimes the energy runs out. We've seen so many great art programs that other countries have taken and run with, but whether it's a music festival or this other thing or this other thing, because sometimes the people who start it, they run out of energy. They don't run out of enthusiasm, but they run out of energy. They run out of money. They run out of time. And I've tried not to let any of those things. I could be dead broke and I'm still doing Wadadley Pen. I could be dead tired and I'm still doing Wadadley Pen. I could be dead feeling isolated and I'm still doing Wadadley Pen. Not because of me, but because I don't want it to be something else that starts and stops. We need continuity when it comes to arts development in Antigua. And that I think any person, whatever discipline they work in, whether it's the panmen or the visual artists, would agree with that. You need continuity and you need showcases. And that's why Wadadley Pen's mantra is nurturing and showcasing the literary arts in Antigua and Barbuda.
And just to let people know, those of us who are working along with Joanne with Wadadley Pen, we thought she was gone for 3 days, so we had a little holiday. But no, Joanne was over in Trinidad. In between being on TV and radio, she was sending us updates saying, okay, we've now passed 40 entries. No, 50, 60. And we were getting a countdown, and she was checking and processing things as she was in Trinidad. Not quite sure where she found the time, since everything else was happening. But just to let everybody know that is the person we're talking about. Someone who is making sure it's all happening. And all of this is for the benefit of the youth and the youth, the young at heart, who are this year taking part in the Wadadley Pen Challenge. Reminding everybody that the awards ceremony will be in the first week in July. At the same time, we'll be launching Joanne's next book. Joanne, the title of that book is?
To Be a Cheetah.
To Be a Cheetah. And so To Be a Cheetah is officially launched or released on the 4th of July. We may have the ceremony maybe a day or two earlier. We're working out with the Department of Culture, with the Director of Culture, Mr. Can Cordis, who, by the way, met Joanne at the airport this morning, serenading her. I believe that's what I understand happened. And so there's a video going around somewhere as she and her dad walked out of customs with that coin in hand.
Can I say something?
Go for it.
Can I say something about that, Barbara?
I'm not sure, but go ahead.
The people who organize that, whoever they may be, I don't know whether to thank them or cuss them, because I don't like all that kind of stuff. But having said that, you see the pictures in the paper of the sports people returning and being met. I've never been met before. Um, I'm glad that my dad was there to see it because my parents, my family has endured the struggles with me, and to see some of the triumph, I think, was what was most heartening. Um, but coming through the airport, it's a surreal feeling. You come through the airport, I see Anne there, and I'm like, oh, she's still here. Oh, there's a pan. Oh, what's that pan? Oh my God, oh no. Can I turn around? Like, oh no. Right? So it's that feeling is surreal. It is surreal. I've 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 traveled further than Trinidad representing Antigua, and I've never come through those doors and seen anybody there to greet me. I go outside, I get a car, I go home. And so to come through and be celebrated, I don't want to live in that moment, but it was nice to experience that moment. I say I don't want to live in that moment because I do want to get back to the work, but it was the cap, the icing, the cherry on the Cinderella experience.
Well, I think you really have to understand, Joanne, yes. And I happen to have been at the airport at the same time.
I'm scared of what Anna's going to say now. I don't trust the two of you.
No. I just think that, it is a measure of the admiration and love that we have for you. That we want you to really fully understand how appreciative we are of what you do and what you have accomplished. And we wish you well as you continue on your journey. So, okay, fine. So you're trying to decide.
Well, I would say
you want to cuss people.
No, I do. I mean, that's my instinct. I was like, how right is all about words and tone. How do I say thank you in a cuss you tone? Because that's the feeling. That intersection there is the feeling. But I will say in response to what you just said.
I feel sorry for that person, though, those people. That's all I'm saying. I feel sorry for whoever those people are. That's it. Go ahead, you were saying.
Who are those people?
Go ahead.
A friend of mine said, John, you have to learn to receive, and so I'm practicing that in this moment. I've been practicing that since the Sabga award, because when sometimes you focus on the grind, it's hard to stop and receive things, whether it's words or affirmation or whatever. And I'm trying to work on that. So I'm going to take that moment of stepping through those doors in that spirit. I receive it.
Good, very good.
And I take what you said, and without all jokes aside, I take what you said. I receive that as well, and I appreciate it.
And so I'm going to ask both you ladies and gentleman Ian to give me some parting thoughts on this whole idea that a hero has returned. Ian, your parting thoughts in 45 seconds or so?
All right. Well, keep the good work going. I'm certainly looking for that book, How to Be a Cheater, online, so I can at least, get it purchased and inspire even my kids. But keep the good work going, keep the momentum going. And the beauty about getting momentum is that more and more people, will get on the bandwagon and continue to spread, that good work that you're doing.
Thank you.
And we have word from one more person who wanted to make a comment concerning Joanne's award. And so we'll hear from that person, and then we go straight to Anne.
Serious congratulations to Sister Joanne Hillhouse. From me, a fellow writer, and I think from all the writers and aspiring writers and previous writers in Antigua and Barbuda, thank you for validating what we do and putting Antigua and Barbuda's literature on the map. I can't think of anyone who deserves this prize more than Joanne does. So big up yourself, Joe. We bigging you up.
Anne, your parting thoughts, and then Joanne, you have the last word.
Well, I'm going to make two comments. The first is that the nominations for new laureates is out at present, and I'm inviting all of those of you who are listening to this program to go to the website www.ansa, A-N-S-A, Caribbean Awards, all one word, .com, and you will see the nomination forms. There are 4 categories of nominees: entrepreneurship, science and technology, public and civic contributions, and of course, arts and letters. I invite you to think of persons in Antigua and Barbuda who are worthy of this nomination and put forward these nominations. I think they remain open until July or August, but go online now. Don't take any more time. And my closing thoughts, of course, are to congratulate Joanne. I know that this is going to do well for you. It is going to propel you to even greater heights. And I look forward to being there as you continue your journey. And on the 4th of July, well, I don't know what date the launch will happen, but I will certainly be looking up for it.
Thank you, Anne. Joanne, final word?
First, I just want to say thank you to everyone who has ever supported me at any stage of the journey, even the ones who have supported in not so positive ways. Because as a writer, you know, it's all meat. It's all things that you can use as a person. Every bump and every slip, every pothole, is a part of the journey, and it helps to make. I wouldn't be here if I hadn't been through all of it. So I'm thankful for every part of it in this moment. If you want to continue, if you feel at all inspired by anything we're talking, this isn't just about me. You can support the arts. That's what I want to leave people with. Whether it's to see an artist who's in the community and boost them in some way, whether with money or with paying it forward in some way, even a word of encouragement. And as far as Wadadli Pen goes, we are still looking for patrons for this year. So you can be like the Anthony and Sabga Foundation and give. And make space for the arts as a community. I think I would say that. Make space for the arts, to encourage it, to not diminish it, to celebrate it. That's what this moment is for me, the celebration of the arts. And if I'm an arbiter of that, then that feels complete to me. Thank you, Barbara, for
You're welcome.
How do you say thank you? Thank you, Barbara. I appreciate you not making me not take this moment. And I think I mean that.
You're welcome. Somebody wants to know where they can find pictures of last night. And where can they find pictures? Online?
On the Facebook page for the Answer Caribbean Awards. All right, you're going to just have to
Google Anthony Sabga, spelled Sabga.
Sabga.
Right.
Yeah. And in any event, I'm going to have some things up on my page.
Great. So
I'm going to have things on my blog as well, Joe Hadley. So they'll be all over. You'll see the pictures.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds good. And we're hoping that Cannes video might make it to other media sources as well. So Joanne C. Hillhouse, laureate, congratulations. We're wishing you all the best in the future.
Thank you.
The Cancer Treatment Center is closed. We explore the impact that this is having on our society. It takes just one storm. What will it take for the nation to be properly prepared? If the Governor General ignores calls for an inquiry, what's the next move? Antigua and Barbuda's Joanne C. Hillhouse was last night inducted into the College of Laureates at a gala ceremony at the Hilton Ballroom in Port of Spain, Trinidad. A nation celebrates. You've been listening to The Big Issues for Sunday, the 4th of June, 2023. My name is Barbara Arundel, and I've been your host and producer of The Big Issues for Observer Radio. Our studio technician, who did a fantastic job this afternoon with lots of clips, has been Joe Antonio. If you tuned in late and missed any part of the program, you can listen to a rebroadcast at 6 p.m. right after the news. You can also find the video on our Facebook page. If you've enjoyed listening this afternoon, share the video with a friend or encourage someone to tune in this evening. Join us again next Sunday